Once again, welcome to the program, and we begin with what may be considered as a major reshuffle in Russia's military leadership since the start of the Ukraine war. The country's President Vladimir Putin has shocked many people as he replaced his defense minister and his close ally Sergei Shoigu with a civilian economist, Andrei Belosov. Mr. Belosov, who served as former first deputy prime minister and specializes in economics, was appointed to the top defense board. According to the Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, Mr. Shoigu was relieved of his position by presidential decree. The 68-year-old has been in the role since 2012, and the Kremlin says that Mr. Shoigu will remain an influential part of Mr. Putin's administration and is to be appointed secretary of Russia's Security Council. The Kremlin also pointed out that the president, Vladimir Putin, decided himself that the Ministry of Defense should be headed by a civilian, one who is more open to innovation and who is open to the most rapid implementation, which is winning on the battlefield. Well, Russia is claiming its forces have entered the northeastern border town of Vovchansk, which is near Ukraine's second-largest city, Kharkiv. According to the Ukrainian officials, fierce fighting is taking place in that area, and Russia has intensified its attacks on the region following Friday's surprise ground assault across the border. Friday's cross-border attack saw the seizure of at least 9 villages and settlements in one of the most significant incursions since the war began in 2022. Nearly 6,000 residents in and around Vovchansk have been evacuated, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that the situation there was extremely difficult. The Ukrainian army's top commander said that although the situation was complicated, forces are, however, managing to hold back further the Russian advances. And Russia is blaming a Ukrainian strike after an entire section of an apartment building collapsed following an explosion in Belgorod. CCTV from the scene shows a large blast near the base of the 10-story block and then the building falling in. The regional governor said that 2 bodies have been pulled out of the rubble and at least 19 people have been injured in that incident. The Russian city is near the border with Kharkiv and Ukraine, where Moscow's troops launched an offensive on Friday last week. Belgorod region has often been targeted by Ukrainian forces since the start of Russia's full invasion of Ukraine back in 2022. But previously, Ukrainian officials have said that cross-border strikes do not target civilians. Here's more in this report.
The residential districts in the city of Belgorod near the border with Ukraine was struck by deadly shelling on Saturday, causing damage to high-rise buildings, structures and vehicles. The regional governor of Belgorod accused Ukraine of bombarding the region, describing the cause of the explosion as a Ukrainian shell. CCTV from the scene shows a large blast near the base of the 10-story block and then the building falling in. 2 bodies were reportedly pulled from the rubble and 19 people have been injured. Rescue services, EMECOM, were seen performing search and rescue operation on Sunday. Can you hear us? They call out. All residents of the apartment building were evacuated to temporary accommodation centers after its entrance section collapsed from the ground floor up. The Russian Defense Ministry said the attack was carried out by the Kyiv regime, describing the attack as a terrorist one on residential neighborhoods. The Russian Investigative Committee opened a criminal case on terrorism charges. The Ukrainian side attributed the attack to a guided bomb dropped by a Russian plane intended for Ukraine, but whose glide wings had not opened. The incident comes as fighting continues just across the border in northeastern Ukraine, where Russian forces have made incursions into the Kharkiv region. The Russian Defense Ministry in Moscow claims its forces have captured a number of villages there, while Kyiv says it has been carrying out counter-attacks.
VOA's Russian reporter Ricardo Macina joins us now for more on this. Hi, Ricardo. It's good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
And now quite a major shake-up in the Russian military leadership, anyone will say. But do we know why Mr. Shoigu was being replaced?
Yes, of course, it's indeed a big change, especially because we are in the middle of the biggest war that Russia is involved from the Second World War. So change the Minister of Defense right now for an economist is a huge step that no one expected, not me for sure, and tell us a lot about the state of the situation in Russia. There are some changes coming, and we expect to have big changes coming in the next 2-3 months, especially now in summer when a big Russian operation is to be expected in Ukraine.
President Putin decided the Ministry of Defense should actually be headed by a civilian. Why does he think a civilian would even do a better job?
Well, this person, the new Minister of Defense, will be an economist. So in his case, we can expect that there will be some kind of economy of war put in place. So we expect maybe we will have not an official declaration of war against Ukraine, but we can see the first step for economy of war. So a big change to put all the money and all the capacity of the states working for the war and to produce all the necessary that Russia needs to fight this war.
But when we think of the war that started from 2022 to this moment, I mean, Shoigu has been a major factor to the start of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. He's being the mastermind of many Russian attacks in Ukraine. Why is he changing him now?
It's impossible to be in the head of Vladimir Putin, but we can understand that Russia, Putin want to have some changes, and he don't trust anymore Shoigu to be the leader of these changes. We must remember always that this war must, in the original idea, was a war of 2-3 weeks maximum. And we are now here in the third year of this war. So, of course, Shoigu has not complained the target that he had in the beginning of the war. So Putin decided that he needs a new blood, new leader for this time.
All right, so let's talk about this new leader. That's Shoigu's replacement, Andrei Belousov. He's also an economist, but this mean a strategic move for the Russian economy, or would his appointment just curb defense spending in some way?
So Belousov is a technocratic profile as the first minister that Russia have now. So it means that Putin want to have the accounts in order, want to make the money issues the priority, to focus all the money in the production of weaponry and to buy also weapons from India and North Korea. So he want to put this in the focus. So lead the ministry by an economist that can do this work properly, as Shoigu didn't do. We can remember that the fight between Prigozhin and Shoigu come 2 years ago because Shoigu could not provide the weapons that the Wagner mercenaries asked for.
But Ricardo, when we talk about reshuffle, it's something that doesn't happen often in Russia. How are people reacting to this new development?
So yesterday, all the chats, Telegram, have contacted us, the Russian Facebook, on all the channels that are dedicated to the war was in shock. A lot of people celebrated, people that want, so pro-war, Russians that are in favor of the war, celebrated these changes, hoping that now Russia will finally put more money in the table to buy weaponry. A lot of people that are, supporting of the dead leader of Wagner, Mr. Prigozhin, also was celebrating because Shoigu was the enemy #1 of Mr. Prigozhin. But anyway, all of them, for all of them, was the same factor. We've been all shocked for this change.
All right, but before I let you go, let's talk about the situation in Belgorod, a provincial center near the Ukrainian border, which is, of course, continually subjected to deadly missile and drone attacks and what have you, which Russia is already blaming on Ukraine. Have you had any comments from Kyiv?
Not officially, not at least I didn't. I was monitoring the situation the last hours. I didn't read nothing about Kiev, but of course we have a lot of rumors. The Ukrainian side don't want to be blamed for the death of civilians, as well as the Russian never want to be blamed when in the dozens or hundreds of bombing of civilian houses. Of course, Ukrainians will deny any implication of this, and Russia will blame Ukrainians for this awful attack in civilians. At the same, that happened always in the other side. All time that one bomb destroy a civilian house in Ukraine, Russia say that there are the same Ukrainians bombing themselves. So it's a propaganda war, and we cannot trust for sure not the parties that are involved in this war.
All right, Ricardo Macina, VOA's Russian reporter, thank you so much for your time and your contribution on The World Today.
Thank you for having me.